All right, it looks like the ride could finally be coming to an end for Broncos country. Starting quarterback Russell Wilson being benched for the final 2 games, even though the Broncos are still alive for the playoffs. Head coach Sean Payton turning to backup Jarrett Stidham, and he insists it has nothing to do with a contract, nothing to do with moving on from Russell Wilson. They just need to reinvigorate the offense in these final 2 games to try and salvage this season. Yeah, right, Sean. I totally believe you. Look, the Russell Wilson Denver Broncos marriage has been completely rocky. It has not worked out whatsoever. It's going to go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history just based on how much they gave up and the lack of productivity they got from Wilson. Look, Russell was awful in 2022. He was terrible. Trash, one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. But he has not been the problem with the Broncos this year. Solid all around, about 3,000 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 8 picks, a 98 passer rating. That's better passing numbers than guys like Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. He's having a fine season. The defense was terrible. So they traded for Sean Payton in the offseason. They're trying to fix Russell Wilson. They think it's going to be a perfect marriage. He's like kind of a athletic Drew Brees type of guy. Really isn't, though. Ain't that deadly accurate. He is a short guy, so he's got that going for him. But Sean Payton, I think, is an overrated head coach to begin with as it is. One Super Bowl, all that time with a Hall of Fame quarterback that you had to cheat to win. All those years, he's definitely a horrendous evaluator of defensive coaches and defensive talent because those Saints teams had zero defense whatsoever. And this Broncos defense was one of the worst defenses in NFL history to start this season. Now, they started 1-5. They got super hot, won 5 in a row. And the defense really wasn't that much better. They just were forcing turnovers at an insane clip. They were averaging like 3 turnovers a game. Plus, I think it was like 3.5 turnovers a game on that stretch. That's insane. You're never going to see that in the NFL over a sustained period. They then go, 6 out of 7, and then they lose their last 2 games, lose to Detroit, lose to New England, essentially knocking them out of the playoff race. They were right in the thick of it. Now they're pretty much done. But the real reason why Wilson is hitting the bench is he's due $37 million fully guaranteed for 2025 if he becomes injured in these next 2 games. If he gets a serious injury, his contract's fully guaranteed for 2025, and the Broncos want flexibility. When they traded for Wilson, he signed a new 5-year, $242 million fully guaranteed, or not fully guaranteed, a $242 million contract with the Broncos that doesn't even kick in till next year. So it was essentially a 7-year deal with Russell Wilson. He's 35 years old right now. I don't get what that move was with the Broncos ownership and regime. But the real question is, can they even get out of this contract? We're going to be looking at historic numbers, completely unprecedented, talking dead cap space, money that the Broncos are going to have to eat. But it seems like they're in the long haul for Sean Payton. He seems like he's going to be around for a while coaching. They gave up the picks to get him, and they're just going to have to cut the cord. It looks like Sean Payton is never going to be happy with anybody who isn't Drew Brees. He's his first love, and he's going to compare everybody to Drew Brees. And you're never going to find another Drew Brees, bro. Hate to break it to you, unless he's going to mold some rookie quarterback. It's just not going to happen. But, Sean Payton's kind of a stubborn dick. So let's look at the contract numbers as it is here. So next year, he's a $35.4 million cap hit against the team. $85 million dead cap. If they were to cut Russell Wilson just straight up in this offseason, $85 million dead cap. That's going to cost them an extra $49 million against the cap. They're already $18 million over the cap projected for next season, Denver. So that's not a possibility. They can't do that. What they can do is designate him as a post-June 1st cut, and that's going to really kind of allow them to spread the money out. They'll eat the $35.4 million next year against the cap, or next year on the cap, but then they're only going to have to pay 49.6 instead of 55.4 against the cap. So that's going to save them about $6 million here, just under $6 million they're going to save in 2 years. That's the big thing. They're looking to save for the 2025 season. 2024 is basically a lost cause with this contract, and they don't want him to get injured because then they can't cut him, and that $37 million kicks in and becomes fully guaranteed, and it's a whole dumpster fire of a mess for the Broncos. So that's potentially what we're going to see. Now, there is a very, very small chance we could see him getting traded, but that's very unlikely to happen. They'd really have to work the numbers around, and there's zero incentive for teams to trade for him, deal with this contract. If he gets cut, you can sign him to a new deal. We saw this just last season with Derek Carr. Very similar. They bench him the last few games to avoid the injury. They outright cut him. He goes and signs with New Orleans. So where could Russell Wilson end up? He hasn't looked bad this year. Honestly, I would be okay with him. We've seen a lot of shit quarterback play this season. Russell Wilson has not been it. Hasn't been great, but he hasn't been horrible. So where could we see Russell Wilson? I think Atlanta is a great landing spot. I think his wife, she had a very restricted list of cities. I think Atlanta was on that list. Atlanta seems like a spot like he can't be any worse than what we've seen out of Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke, who knows, kind of whatever. Tampa Bay is another potential team, but they seem happy with Baker Mayfield. I think you just let Baker ride. Going to win you the division. Keep going with him. He's going to be a lot cheaper too, probably. I don't know. Washington, he's from the D.C. area, supposedly. I didn't double check that one. I just heard that. He could settle in there. They need some stable quarterback play. Sam Howell ain't the guy. I do kind of like Jacoby Brissett, probably the best backup in the league. It's a real shame we didn't get to see Brissett on some of these teams getting those starts because, man, he's kind of killing it for, he's looked good at least for 2 weeks, and he's been a really good guy in the NFL for a long time. So Washington's another team, possibly, but I don't know. It's one of the worst trades in NFL history if you're a Broncos fan. They keep looking for the future. It's crazy. They haven't made the playoffs since they won the Super Bowl in 2015. This is an organization that was always in the playoffs throughout the 2000s. Since the 90s, since the end of John Elway, they were in the playoffs. It felt like every year with different quarterbacks, different kind of setups. And now it feels like they're completely lost. This defense is trash. You don't have a quarterback. You're in horrible cap space. I don't know what the Broncos are going to do, but kind of a surprise move here that this marriage didn't work out. Not really. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Where's Russell Wilson going to end up? Do you think it's a good move for them to cut him and just move on? Or you think they're making a mistake? It's really hard to find a good quarterback out there, and they're kind of in hell. What's going to happen? Is Sean Payton just going to bail on this team? I could see that too. Sean Payton just says, I don't care. Screw the Broncos. And this organization is literally in hell at that point. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you haven't already, click that thumbs up, like this video, subscribe to the channel. We got new sports content every single day. If you want to support me more, click that join button, sign up for a channel membership. You get access to exclusive videos, early content. You get badges, emojis, things to use for the live streams during the year. It really helps me out, allows me to keep making this great content for you guys every single day. Remember, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.